All right, great. So I'll start with our introduction for today. Again, I don't know if everyone was here yesterday, brief review. We're trying to capture center, body, and range of the medians and the standard deviation. Really the whole distribution is what that goes to, covering all of our relevant sources. And that's what we're going to start to talk about today is, do these models work for all the relevant sources, and are there some additional epistemic uncertainties we need to capture? From the sensitivity analysis for hazard that was shown yesterday, there were the big sort of picture things. For Diablo Canyon at high frequencies, the main controller from the current candidate GMPEs is the standard deviation model. And on the medians, it's more sensitive to the strike slip model than it was to the reverse model, even though the reverse model itself is probably more uncertain. And this has to do with the relative contributions of the activity rates of the faults. At long periods or low frequencies, the median GMPE part was dominant. For Palo Verde, and so we're going to be working the median GMPE and the sigmas were about equal in their contributions. The normal median uncertainty was pretty small. And one of the comments was, or issues is that uncertainty properly captured in our candidate models, or are we all agreeing as to what we think is the best estimate, but not what the range of estimates are? Is that captured properly? At the low frequencies, we're looking at the median GMPEs from large magnitudes and large distances. So it's driven by that California model, or big California earthquakes. I had put these up again, but to save time, we probably should email these out to people, I think would be good, so that you can look at them and remind yourself during the day as what's going on. So this is Diablo Canyon at high frequencies, and we're dominated by, I don't have the pointer.
The pointer's on the shelf, but it might be off.
Might be off. All right. So up here, this is our ranges that were larger in the standard deviations than in the medians, but we see a bigger range from our median ground motions from strike slip than from reverse. This is what I was just talking about. For longer periods at Diablo Canyon, then you start to see a bigger range from the medians, okay, as being a controlling variability. For Palo Verde, it's a lot in here. The medians and the standard deviations both have a significant range here. Some of these are some extremes that we probably will not be maintaining for these particular cases. This is driven by the behavior at several hundred kilometers from long periods, whereas at short periods it's driven now by the sigma and the medians driving the ground motion model. But we see the normal faulting differences are actually pretty small, meaning our models are consistent, more consistent on the normal faulting part. This part is the contribution from the more distant large magnitude earthquakes, which are not negligible even at this high frequency at 10 to the minus 4. So during our discussions today on the ground motion models, we want to talk about a few things about their applicability in general. So we're going to be looking at larger magnitudes than have been dealt with before. This is the USURF3 type of linking of ruptures is something that will be part of the source characterization. So magnitude 8 earthquakes at distances less than 10 kilometers need to be considered. We have reverse faulting with our sites on the hanging wall. So really that's part what we've been focusing on. We're going to have to deal with these complex ruptures and splay ruptures, so how those are input. And you heard yesterday some different approaches for trying to handle that. And we come back to the issues of kappa. For Diablo Canyon, we have more data at the site to get at this. For Palo Verde, we're looking at normal faulting in the background zone is an important contributor, and are we really getting those normal faulting factors right in the GMPEs? The large magnitudes now, magnitude 8s again, type of models, or they need to work up to magnitude 8 at large distances, and then the kappa value is really uncertain right now at Palo Verde, and that's one part we'll have to address. Yeah. Microphone. There's one right next to you.
I think on the PGA at 10 to the minus 4 at Palo Verde,
reason the normal didn't matter, normal didn't have that much control. It was controlled by the distant high strike slip.
Even at PGA, right? Okay, so
So the fact that normals were grouped together was because they weren't controlling.
it can't change it enough. Okay. So we still need to pay attention to it here because that could change depending on how we adjust those models, in particular the large distance attenuation in Arizona. Back to our ground rules here on how we're going to go forward. So our workshops, our main discussions are intended to be with the TI team and the proponent models, our resource experts, the PPRP for clarification. For observers, what I'd ask you to do is wait until there's a lull in the discussion so that I'd be sure that we get all of these things here. If you have a technical discussion, we had a couple of questions yesterday that popped up from observers. That's fine as long as we're not taking away time from the main part. And you will also have time at the end of the day to move forward. So let's start with Nick.